If you thought we were done with spiders with the Ananasi, you were wrong. Today we're going to be talking about the rust spider, which is actually a bane. Hello everyone, welcome to the Maple Table. My name's Nathaniel. This is a channel where we discuss lore around some of your favorite role-playing games such as Starfinder, Werewolf the Apocalypse. If that's something you're interested in, I would love to have you join me at the table. So hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to get more of that. This is a video that was voted on by my patrons at the Maple Wolf level for Werewolf the Apocalypse. I will talk more about this at the end of the video if you are interested. Don't forget, there is also a community Discord server, link is in the description below. When we talk about rust spiders, we are talking about a catch-all name that applies to many infected weaver spiders, weaver minions that have been corrupted by the Wyrm. The rust spider is classified as a bane. What's interesting is that not only do the Guru use the name rust spider to talk about these beings that have been corrupted, so do the black spiral dancers. And with the rust spider, every servant of the Wyrm who has been corrupted still maintains its original purpose, just with a slight variation on that because it's Wyrm tainted now. Pattern spiders will continue to expand the web, except it will be more of a corrupted version, rusting version, if you will. Net spiders still run the internet, but you will probably find viruses and 4chan. That was probably the spawning of a rust spider. Being that a rust spider is an infected weaver spirit, it's important to know what a bane is, what a bane can do, and what a bane is not, and what it can't do. Or doesn't do, rather. Banes come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, emotions, general not good feelings. And if a person does see a bane, let's hope you never do, but if a person does, you will suffer the effects of delirium because banes cause delirium. Some banes are self-aware and know that they do this, and they like to take on the most horrific forms possible to get the most fear factor from their chosen target, whoever they're bothering, and they try to make them as scared as possible. Others will also embody some of the other traits from humankind that we've talked about already. Go to the 7 deadly sins if you want some inspiration. It's not totally correct to say that a bane feeds on this emotion. It's more correct to say that a bane reinforces this negative emotion. It's something that they latch onto and they amplify. It would already have to be there. A bane in and of itself doesn't cause a negative emotion. They are just drawn to it. Most banes have the ability to possess their host. Some of the weaker ones just won't, and the abilities and skill set of the bane will typically be in line with its concept or its emotion, the thing that it ties itself to. It will be tailored to do that thing really well. And as we've talked about in other videos, banes will also have varying degrees of power level, so have fun with that at your table. Now, since a bane is literally defined by its purpose, that means there are very few, if any, morally gray banes. It's not very often you run into a bane that has a conscience and is able to think outside the box. If you do decide to go that route with a bane, I would suggest maybe making it a very high level or high powered bane. And the same could actually be said to be true of many other spirits that are within the world of darkness, gafflings, jaglings. The higher up in the spiritual food chain you go, the more personality they tend to have. But when it comes to most banes, they are the spiritual representation of the human emotion. What makes the rust spider unique as a bane is, as we've just discussed, most banes are pretty singular in their purpose, but a rust spider actually serves two masters, the weaver and the Wyrm. Most spirits, when they are corrupted, will fall entirely to the Wyrm, and they will continue on in their twisted purpose. Now, the Weaver Guardian spirits are going to be the ones that have changed the most, and that's because they would normally not allow any Wyrm-tainted spirit past them. That is something that they actively root out and kill. This is their job. And the ones that I'm referring to specifically are the Hunter Spiders. This would be their job. But when a Hunter Spider has been tainted by the Wyrm and corrupted and becomes classified as a Rust Spider, it will allow Wyrm-tainted spirits, enemies, to pass by freely. Old enemies are now friends. A rust spider is also not easy to identify, at least from a distance, because the nature of the rust spider is intact. They still do the things that they were supposed to do. The pattern spider still builds out the weaver's web. It still maintains its same shape, but it does have a slightly different coloration on it, and that's only noticeable if you get up close. I keep saying pattern spider, but a pattern spider is one of the most basic foot soldiers units that the weaver is going to use. The pattern spider takes items from around the world and it wraps them up in its silk and it adds them to the weaver's web. Pattern spiders are usually quite shiny, they're quite bright. I've run games where they're basically just white light, but you could also use them as a representation of computer parts. That would also work for a pattern spider. But when you get up close, their bodies are a little bit more rusted. They're orange looking, they get pitted and a little bit old. The shine is gone. And depending on how long and even how bad the corruption is, you would even see some organic parts starting to form on the rust spider instead of its wholly mechanical nature or its wholly mechanical body. And when it moves, it would be a little less precision, because that's kind of what the weaver's known for, is everything works just so. A rust spider would be a little bit more jerky and not nearly as smooth. Now, where can rust spiders be found? They are naturally occurring. That's kind of a weird term to call an infected weaver minion, but yes, they do occur on their own. They don't have to be just wholly corrupted. You would find them, however, around blight pits or areas of extreme worm taint. And black spiral dancers can actually create rust spiders as well. There is a specific gift that they call Claws of Corrosion, and this allows them to generate and make their own rust spiders. And it's actually a very common practice when they're setting up an urban pit. And this is because the black spiral needs some friends or allies when they go into an area and try to set up. It's easier than trying to convert those to your cause. Instead, you just go out, grab one, and infect it. Now, a note for you storytellers out there who want to use a rust spider in your game, please know that a rust spider is not aggressive. If you leave it alone, it'll leave you alone. And this unfortunately means that less experienced guru, they tend to overlook these creatures, even though it really should be a sign that there's some bigger problems around and that really needs to be investigated. So what are my final thoughts on the rust spider and how would you use them in the game? Rust spiders are good for flavor. I don't think that they should necessarily be the main enemy or set them up as a big baddie. Nothing stopping you from doing that. They are definitely good to be used to show that there's more to the world than what your wolves or what your players are seeing, especially if you decide to sprinkle some into your campaign and they decide to follow it. It doesn't have to be anything dangerous or hardcore unless you decide to put them in an urban pit, in which case you're mean. I could see a case being made for the hunter spider as a rust spider, as a passage negotiator, someone who mans a doorway and kind of like your bouncer at a nightclub, except there's weird conditions or special requirements to get through and it's not functioning as intended, but it's still working somewhat. And some other groups have definitely found a way to exploit that. So that could be a lot of fun as well. If a Glasswalker character sees these spiders, it should be particularly alarming, so keep that in mind if you're using that for NPCs, or if you just are playing a Glasswalker who knows a lot about the lore, this should alarm you if you see one. But you know who isn't corrupted and is functioning as intended? My patrons. Patrons who support my channel at the Maple level of their chosen game will get a monthly poll of a video topic that they can select, and I will do one for them out of the options that get voted on. And the Rust Spider won out for April. Autumn Alchemist, Cane Root, Warpony, Ducky, Get of Mathrox, B.A. Bravo, Arutvin, The First Layer, Bones Malone, Westheimer, and Ain't No Waifu. Thank you all for your support. If you would like to get your name on the list of patrons, then please check out the link in the description below. If you found value out of the video today, then also consider hitting that like button. If you want to learn more about the worm and its minions, then please check out the playlist that is on your screen now. My name's Nathaniel. This has been the Maple Table. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.